To Kiki the ghost, Pac-Man is a curse, so he sends him away to the Mario-verse. The brothers Mario give Pac a P-Wing as a greeting. Like his normal power-up, this one is just as fleeting. They all travel to Waterland to do some deep-sea diving. Luigi sees the populace is not exactly thriving. In fact, it's non-existent, and Mario agrees. They both know something's wrong yet want to keep their friend at ease. But then a growl is uttered that no one can ignore. The culprit is Unagi from Mario 64! After they all get away, Pac is overstrung. Yoshi comes thinking he's food and grabs him with his tongue. Scared again, Pac runs off. Yoshi is ashamed. He gives Pac tons of berries until his nerves are tamed. With fear of that Unagi and no warp pipe to go through, they'd be stranded if they didn't have these shells of blue. For Yoshi flies when he eats one and gives our heroes rides to the island where the King of Waterland resides. But why is Princess Daisy here, ruling in his stead? She came to have some fun, but the king's out of his head. By fear of that Unagi, the whole kingdom is consumed. If he's not gotten rid of, Waterland is surely doomed. Luigi asks how is it that Unagi can survive. With no one to devour, he shouldn't be alive. Pac-Man suddenly remembers something that he saw. Unagi had some green and spiky balls right in his maw. With Lakitu and spiky eggs, Unagi is infested. Lakitu keeps making them so he won't be digested. Now that Mario's aware, he conjures up a plan. And there's no way it will work without Pac-Man. But it's up to him whether he helps out or not. The devil says forget this and let the kingdom rot. The angel disagrees and says that Pac-Man should assist. He tells them all he will, so by Daisy he gets kissed. Of all the choices he has made, this ranks above his best. Yoshi and the two brothers then go out on a quest. While they fly to Yoshi's island, Yoshi tells the story of how he got to Waterland from his territory. He tried to use balloons, but grabbed one that's a boo, which then gave chase into a place that made our Yoshi flew straight to Waterland and to that monster of an eel. Once they get the things they need, with him they all will deal. They reach their destination, but then they get a fright. The reason Yoshi left his home is coming into sight. Touching only one of these will cause one to be dizzy. But our heroes have a job and with it must get busy. Both machines have missiles, but one travels by water. Yoshi has a plan so said machine can join the slaughter. He says let go to Mario, which makes Luigi scared. Luckily for both of them, Yoshi is prepared. The Sky Pop and the Marine Pop can now be used to fight against a horde of Fuzzies, but later there's a plight. The Fuzzies are too many for the bros to win this war. They only had one Yoshi, but now are joined by more. And they each use items to help thin out the herd, while making awful puns that Yoshi wish he hadn't heard. Yet they help to turn the tide, on the ground at least. Mario is by himself, but soon that will be ceased. Eru brings even more Yoshis and the Submorph Bubble, the item that the brothers need to aid them with their trouble. Every Yoshi touching it is made a submarine. Grabbing each, the Roo jumps up like from a trampoline. With the senses low and high, the Fuzzies have no chance. The Yoshis being so prepared was more than circumstance. They really wanted to come back to vent out their frustrations about Green Yoshi getting all the fame and acclamations. Luigi can relate to this and Yoshi is contrite. But it's not his fault, says the Yoshi that is white. Anyway, they're over it and had a blast to boot. They may just do this every year with a new recruit. Mario says that they're all tops to both him and his bro. The Yoshis are so flattered that they lick them in a row. Let's go slightly back in time to check on Waterland. Daisy gets a call about a thing that had been planned. She tells her fellow planner that there's now a new game changer. She wants him to go back, except it sounds like he's in danger. Pac-Man overhears this and decides to talk right at her. After she's done with some tasks, she'll explain the matter, while traveling by Skypop, the one that's jet-propelled. Once they're both inside, the secret's no longer withheld. She wanted many mushrooms to be dunked into the ocean, so Unagi might get shrunk like from a shrinking potion. But she wasn't really certain how her plan would end. Pac says that he'll keep her secret and they'll save her friend. A group of Nepa nuts is what is causing the distress. They remind Pac-Man of something. Can you take a guess? He ejects himself to satisfy his appetite. The Nepinuts escape at once to circumvent his bite. After they are gone, our heroes go and check the ship. The captain and the helmsman can no longer make the trip. But Daisy has a cruiser, so she can steer the boat. And while the captain heals, she will wear his hat and coat. While sailing, Daisy wonders if the mini mushroom clutter might become a problem since it's too big for the shutter. But what a mini mushroom does, a super counteracts. They find the toad house on an isle with many cataquacks, creatures that throw outsiders right into the skies. Pac believes to let him be since he's their shape and size. Daisy says he still needs something, like both of her shoes, and with them Pac or Catapac goes on with the ruse. Pac explains what's going on to the toad inside. He brings him in and exhibits the things he can provide. Pac wants Toad to come along, but he's too afraid of being thrown by Cataquack, so in the house he stayed. He wished he had more power-ups to use against the horde. He tells Pac to forget him, but his request is ignored. Pac-Man has a way to help, and it is rather dandy. For things that are for feet, Daisy's mules are pretty handy. Toad uses the mini mushroom that Pac went to fetch. The Cataquacks try their best, but he's too small to catch. He goes straight to the water, where he displays satisfaction. And for our hero Pac-Man, he makes a great distraction. After Toad gets big again, he makes a proposition. He'll take all the mini mushrooms once they've done the mission. Daisy is so happy that this trip won't be for naught. Now let's see what trouble our three other heroes got. A flock of parabeetles are heading for the crew, but with fire and ice, the team will come through. Once Yoshi is far enough, the brothers use their powers, those from the machines and those from both the flowers. They conjure up a twister, then safely pass the crowd. After that maneuver, they should all be really proud. Let's return to Pac-Man, who's having a great dream. Daisy wants to give him something that will make him scream. A whole mountain of island fruits for Pac-Man to chow down. First he turns to Mini-Pac, then quickly goes to town. But fruits are not the only thing this island has in store. Daisy walks to strut her stuff. This far from the shore? Suddenly she's captured, thrown into a web and wrapped. So the three false daisies are the trappers and the trapped. When Tanga kidnapped Daisy, he made some insurance by using these three fakes to wear out Mario's endurance. The real one was saved anyway, and the fakes retreated. With Daisy in their sights again, is the past repeated? They plan to trap her, take her place, and then leave her behind. She goes aboard to take a nap, so now they're in a bind. But they hear that one crew member found their broken jet. He thinks they should look around and not depart just yet. His mates agree but don't want to disturb Pac and the captain. They ask Toad to stay in case to them something will happen. But they might get lost, so the one who found a plane goes back, takes his parachute, then returns to contain some mini mushrooms in it. How's this of avail? He tears a hole and drags the parachute to make a trail. Fly says if they hide her crew, Daisy will come seek. In the instant that she does, she'll be up the creek. Their plan is put in motion. Fly and Gunyan dug a hollow. Kumo made sure that the crew's impossible to follow. Speaking of whom, they arrive and get lured by a shake. They seem to be in trouble, but are then given a break. A break named Captain Daisy, who made quite the appearance. She wants to leave and would if not for faker interference. Now there's 4 daisies, and the crew can't tell who's who. So taking each one with them is the only thing to do. But only one had a certain yellow guy concealed, and with his help the other daisies' true selves are revealed. Well, at least in mini form, they try to change right back. When told they can't, they scream out loud but aren't shown any slack. Daisy credits Pac-Man for their plan being a flop. He saw that the mushroom trail had come right to a stop. He finished eating earlier than any would expect. After preparations, Daisy had the plane eject. She took along the missile so that she could zero in. That's how Pac and Daisy are hero and heroine, both of whom with Toad and crew leave the fakes alone. On their way to Waterland, a new curveball is thrown. A pirate ship is headed in the very same direction. Daisy wants to warn them of the Unagi infection. It turns out that they know, and they will be the cure. Our heroes laugh and Daisy asks, "How are you so sure?" They show their mega mushroom. It'll make their fighters giant. Daisy tells them that won't work, but they are still defiant. By readying their cannon and igniting the fuse, Pac wants to be thrown at them because there's no time to lose. He lands right on the cannon and cancels the ignition. The fighters come to prevent him from messing with their mission. Zuskai blasts some energy, yet Pac just gulps it down. The captain shakes him off the cannon, hoping he will drown. But he grabs the anchor's chain and uses it to hook. His beating over half the crew has these 4 pirates shook. If Pac was not enough, Captain Daisy joins the fun. She used their mega mushrooms, so they might as well be done. To make sure there's nothing left in their plans to ruin, she breaks the cannon and the boat by forcing her heeled shoe in. Once the leak she made is plugged, she carries Pac and goes. Then she grabs the ship and kicks, sending off their foes. Daisy got enormous by first becoming small. She ran across the ocean and up the ship's sidewall. She's so grateful to Pac-Man she kisses him again. She moves the ship to land and pours the mushrooms in the pen. Normal Daisy meets the 2 piantas she replaced. Captain gives his clothes back since by Daisy they were graced. The crew gives her and Pac-Man cheers, then they all say bye. The Sky Pop leaves with souvenirs, and Toad counts his supply. Yoshi and the bros return with everything they need. With a team as great as this, they're certain to succeed. Daisy flies and carries Yoshi in and as a sub. He jumps out and she jumps in and quickly joins the club of Yoshi and Unagi, whom at the former shoots. Mario and Luigi in their Tanuki suits. Daisy fires Pac-Man, Frog Pac-Man that is. Once inside the eel, he uses that big mouth of his. He finds Laika too and gets him out with both the brothers. Unagi starts with no more eggs, but then is lured by others. With them gone for good, Waterland is now in bliss. Pac is given most of credit and a great big kiss. Later, Daisy and Yoshi go back to whence they came, and the brothers take Pac-Man to meet a certain dame. Hope you like, comment, and share. It helps more than one's aware. For subscribers, I remind, click bell to be not behind.